Hello, folks. Welcome back to another edition of SHU Outdoors. My name is Mick. I'm your host, and today I'm going to demonstrate to the viewing audience how I used the information that I obtained in these 5 banned books that a lot of prisons have banned or want to ban or are trying to ban. These 5 books, a previous episode that I did here on SHU Outdoors, and I'm going to demonstrate how by taking the knowledge and information that I learned from these 5 books and applied it to a real life situation. In fact, the period was 3 months while I was being held in the downtown Orlando City Jail located in Orlando, Florida, fighting a federal probation type of situation. I was there for about 3 months. I'm not from Orlando, so it was new territory for me. But by applying the information in these 5 books, I was able to navigate smoothly, accomplish my goals, because no matter where you're at, whether if you're in a prison situation or you're working in a job or you're just dealing with the pitfalls of life that we all have to navigate around, through, over, or sometimes under, or just sometimes just whatever. But these 5 books made that period much more smooth and conducive to doing what I needed to do to get through it in one piece and be able to communicate effectively in the streets and deal with legal issues, etc. So let's go ahead on and get into it. So yeah, what happened was I had ended up catching a federal probation violation for smoking state legal medical marijuana, and it was back before Trump signed the new executive order that he signed, which I'm sure would have completely changed the game. But anyway, I was consuming state legal medical marijuana with doctor's approval. The feds didn't like it. They violated me. Ended up, so this is kind of where the story picks up. So I end up in Orlando City Jail, downtown Orlando, Florida, and I'm just dealing with a probation violation, so I know I'm not in real trouble, but I'm in trouble enough to have to stay in this jail for 2 or 3 months, waiting to see how it plays out. So there I was. Now, a little about the Orlando City Jail. When you first get booked in, it's like one of these new booking type of places where it's not necessarily holding cells. It's like a bunch of chairs around this big officers processing observation station type of thing with a nurse thing off to the side, etc. So that's a little bit about the booking in process. You get booked in there, your phone calls are free. Now, when you leave there, you can make phone calls while you're down there for free with little phones they got periodically placed around the place. And when you leave there, what's going to happen is you're going to go into a holding cell now. Upstairs, it's about a 20-man tank with a little bathroom area, a TV, one phone, and bunk bed. So, you're only going to usually be in there 2 to 4 days while they're deciding what unit they're going to put you in. So it's a big booking process there. Then you'll leave there and go to another unit. And you might be there another few days to a week, and then they're going to assign you to the actual unit that you're assigned to. So with my luck, or whatever, they ended up assigning me to what is called the main, which is like the old jail. And obviously they've built different buildings onto it now, like the new prison jail, like county jail design, open, cells, but with a big day room in the middle type of thing. Now, the old part of the jail is called the main, and it actually has like 4, and I'm going to think 4 8-man cells, all right? Now, I knew when I went in there, first of all, I'm not from Orlando, so I'm going to be dealing with a lot of individuals, obviously, who are from Orlando, who have friends in that jail. So that's the situation I'm going to find myself, kind of stranger in a strange land, but I still got things I need to accomplish and do. One, I need to communicate with my wife and my attorney, so I'm going to need to use the phone. So I know that's going to be a priority, and obviously I want to get through this little situation that I find myself in as smoothly and as coolly as possible. Now, because I had studied the 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, both of those books are from Robert Greene. And I had also had the opportunity to study How to Win Friends and Influence People. Another phenomenal book that I highly recommend, and I did recommend in that 5-book, the banned book series. And I had the opportunity to also study The Art of War and The Prince by Nicholas Machiavelli. So I had been studying these books for years by the time I got there. So I realized kind of, I come to a realization at some point in the past that anywhere you find yourself, well, there you are. Whether if you're a stranger in a strange land or if you're in your backyard doing the things you like to do. But wherever you find yourself, there you are. And all kind of trials, tribulations, aggravations, good times, smiles, frowns, etc. are going to come your way, really, in whatever environment you're in. And if you can take advantage of certain techniques that are really kind of based in psychology, and you understand the foundation of being able to maintain control over your own emotions and yourself, it will actually help you see what you need to see, and take advantage of situations that others may not see. But in the long run, everybody gets what they need, mostly what they want, and it works out for everyone. So when they moved me to the main, it has, like I said, 4 8-man cells, 2 8-man cells downstairs and 2 8-man cells upstairs. They have 2 phones, a little day room, a little shower, and a couple of tables to play cards at. It's a relatively small unit, but the way the phone system would work there, in the daytime, okay, so one phone was for the upstairs and one phone was for the downstairs. The 2 cells upstairs had their own little phone that they worked back and forth on, and the 2 cells downstairs had their own phone that they worked back and forth on. Now, in the daytime, it didn't matter what cell you was in. If you could go up and ask somebody, hey, anybody got next to the phone? And they'd be like, hey, you or this guy here, and you just go track the line down, and anybody could get on any phone in the daytime. You just have to wait your turn. At nighttime, it was a little something different. When I first went to that unit, there was always a little bit of confusion because when I first got there, at count time, when the cells open back up after like the 6 o'clock count, from 4 to 6 o'clock, they would lock the jail down, feed you a little sack lunch, and do a count, and then they'd open the cells back up. So from 6 until 9:20, everybody could be out. And now what would happen is it would go back and forth between the 2 cells downstairs. So an individual in cell 1 would use a phone, just one phone for downstairs. Individual in cell 2 would use his phone, and then it would go back and forth between the 2 downstairs cells on one phone, and the same thing back and forth between the 2 upstairs cells on one phone. Well, when I had first got there, at count time, everybody would just say, I got first, or I got second, or I got third, and you would get your line that way. And when you came out, you might get on the phone right away, or you might have to wait an hour or so to whenever it went back to that cell so you could get your 15 minutes. You know what I mean? It was a system, but it was somewhat of an organized system. And I knew that I would need to use the phone at least 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a day just to take care of business that I needed to take care of on the street. So I saw this situation and I said, hey, how can I improve on this situation, convince everybody in here that the situation needs to be improved on, so then I can utilize certain individuals who don't use the phone, who would have a slot to use the phone, get their slot time. That way everybody can get what they need and I can get the phone time that I need. So after a little bit of politicking and debating, when there was some discrepancy one day, 2 guys called third, all right? No, I called third. No, I called third. I said, well, hey, man, why don't we do this? Why don't we just come up with a list in this sale? We draw for it in the beginning, okay? So it's fair. and we put everybody's name on a list, and every day it revolves. So you go first day, tomorrow you at the end of the list. Everybody don't use the phone. You got to remember that too. So just because you're at the end of the list don't mean you'll have to wait to the end. Some people might just say they're not using the phone today. But everybody's name is on tonight. So everybody's name is on a list, and it goes up. So you go to the top, you go to the bottom, you work your way back up to the top. So any given day, you go first, second, third, fourth, fifth, but everybody gets on the list. So in the evening times when the sale opens, okay, this cell goes first tonight. So whoever's on the top of the list, they go down first in my phone call. Then the cell upstairs, they go to whoever is first in their cell. They come up with that on their own, not our problem. And then they'll go first for that sale, which would be second, and then whoever's second in this sale will go, but it'll actually be the third slot, and it goes back and forth. That way everybody in the sales can more or less get in to make a phone call at night if they need to. Now I got so everybody agrees that it's a pretty good idea and it works, all right? But see, what I knew is a lot of those dudes in the cell I was in, at least 2 or 3 of them really didn't use the phone. All right, and I was in a pretty good position. I went to the commissary every week, or I had my wife send one of those little JPay packages that they have with the soups and the chips and the coffee and stuff in it. And so once I got that system in place in that sale, then what I would do, as soon as the system went into place and I was on my thing, I knew the people, the 2 or 3 guys in the cell I was in who never really used the phone or only used it once or maybe twice a week. And I would go to them and I said, hey man, well, if you ain't going to use the phone today, I mean, you still got a slot. I mean, it's not like I'm bumping somebody to I'm going to use my slot and I want to buy your 15 minutes too, which it's your 15 minutes. You could use it or you could sell it to me. It doesn't matter. It's still your 15 minutes to do with it as you see fit because it's your phone time. You're on the list. Your name is on the list. All right. So I would use my phone, okay, and then I would buy people's phone calls up front, ahead, and you got to pay for your own phone call. So it's like it don't cost them nothing, and they make a soup off of it, or a big old shot of coffee, or a soup and a coffee, depending on how bad I need a phone call. So I would buy their phone time up front, ahead of time, like on a Monday for a whole week or whenever we went to commissary for the next, okay, you want to sell me 5 calls this week? I'm going to go ahead and give you 5 soups ahead of time. That way I would have 2 or 3 phone calls lined up in the night. Now, I might not use all 3. If somebody else really needed to make a phone call, myself, be like, yo, go ahead and go for me, man. I'll go after you. I'll go on the next slot. Show a little love, prevents a lot of hate. But I saw the situation for what it was. And what I did is I took a deep look at the whole situation and figured out a way to use that existing situation that was malformed. Okay, it was on the right track. What I did is I come up with a system that everybody agreed with because it stopped all arguing and bickering. You didn't have to call your name first. You're on a list, and whenever your name comes up, that's when you go. Okay, we never discussed that you couldn't buy other people's phone time that was on the list. Their 15 minutes of slot time. So I would use mine. Either whenever I was on a list, I would either use it first or get around to use it, and I'd buy 2 or 3 other people's phone call almost every night. So I would end up with like an hour to change worth of phone time every night. Now, sometimes like I said, I would show a little love to people and go ahead. I done bought the slot time, but you go ahead and go and hit that spot, and I'll go in the next spot because I know you need to make a phone call right now. Now, the information that I acquired studying those 5 books, not only did it help me to recognize any given situation that may present itself and the best way to navigate it and to take advantage of it, because just because I take advantage of a situation doesn't necessarily mean I take advantage of any person. It means I see a situation that with a little help, it can get on the track that I need it to be on to ultimately be able to achieve my goal. And most of the time, everybody else is going to get what they really need to do good business, because if you read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, it talks all about how before people will listen to your suggestions or place trust in you, They have to like you and feel you're honest and respect you. So just because you're in a jail doesn't mean you have to resort to being an urchin. You know what I mean? So that was just one of the small ways that I used that knowledge that I accumulated in those books. And that 3 months was smooth sailing, no problem. Now, another aspect of being able to stay calm and think clearly any situation you may find yourself in is going to have a lot to do with your physical health. And I've also taken a number of psychology courses where you learn different breathing techniques. How to long breathe, how to keep your calorie count up. You have to eat even if you don't like what's being served. Even if you're in a situation where you really don't like the food, you need to eat, unless it says something that is unedible. But you need calories. You need to maintain. What you doing back there, homeboy? My homie, Lemmy Motorbutt Baby's in the shot today. But yes, you need to maintain your calorie uptake, even if they're giving you peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and you don't like peanut butter. If you can eat it without getting sick, I'd recommend you do it to keep your. Obviously, it's not medical advice. Don't take it like that. But I recommend that you do it. And sleep when you can. Use some of the Buddhist principles of trying to clear your mind of things you really can't control or you have a minimum amount of control over. Recognize what's immediate. What do you have actual physical control over? What can you do to make your situation a little bit better right now? And how can you attempt to mold the current events that's going on around you to your best favor? In other words, take advantage of a situation that a lot of people don't see clearly. And because I was able to make those phone calls, I was able to get a communication with my attorney, help run down by way of my wife and a friend that I had at the time, do research and put the attorney on certain lines of things. As a result, I got a year and a day, which you had to do 10 months on, and they terminated my probation. But I know it's easy to dismiss yoga, and I'm not advocating anyone becomes a hot yoga, expert overnight, because that's a pretty intense discipline. But even if you don't go off onto the hard yoga aspect, to understand certain breathing techniques to help you stay calm, even when you're furious and you're very angry, how you react, you have control over. Okay, and you can still react in a way that your goals are met without having an outburst. Because really, when you have an outburst or you lose control of a situation, it's because you didn't think it through. Okay, sometimes you got to think things through in a split second, and sometimes you have more time. But one thing you got to learn how to do is put your ego in check, and the next thing you need to know how to do is effectively deal with people. So breathing techniques, pleasant imagery, working out, reading, sleeping, knowing when to worry about something and knowing when not to worry about it. Okay, you're trying to solve a puzzle right now, so you need to use a lot of energy to figure out how to solve this puzzle. But okay, once I've did whatever I can do for today to solve this puzzle, even if it wasn't completely solved, the puzzle's still there. It's on the table. The pieces are there. In my mind, I can go back to it tomorrow and finish assembling the puzzle or make a better effort at finishing it and moving in that direction. But learning how to clear your mind when you've did all you can do today, and think things through clearly. And I highly recommend that everyone goes back and rethink that book. I didn't that episode. I didn't get a tremendous amount of views, maybe 150. The channel was still young at the time, but it's definitely a read list worth checking out and definitely applying to your life. I've applied these principles many, many times in many, many different aspects of my life, inside and outside of jail. And that's the reason why I'm in the position that I'm in now. Because, yes, I had a lot of adversity to overcome when I got out of prison. And I still got I've made a lot of strides, but I still got work to do, and I think I've come a long way. But obviously, there's always something more to learn, and when you achieve certain knowledge, it's not just about the application of the knowledge; it's about how to apply the knowledge that you've learned. Man's most efficient and most highly prized weapon is his mind. You know what I mean? I can't fight a grizzly bear. I mean, I'm probably going to lose if I go into combat, hand to hand with a grizzly bear. But what I can do is dig a big pit, put some stakes in it, cover the pit with like a little bit of fall, and lure the grizzly bear to me. All right, so he falls in the pit and impales himself. I can outthink the grizzly bear. Okay, in most situations, if you stay calm, you stay focused, you stay well rested, you keep your nutrition up, you worry about things when you need to worry about them, and you learn how to let them go when you've reached your duration of what you can do today. Breathing techniques, pleasant imagery, all of that will take you a long way in any situation you may find yourself in, whether if it's in a prison setting or in a warehouse or office space. When you're dealing with people, you can use these tenets in any situation to make your life a lot easier and smoother, and without taking advantage of people or being a grind ball. So hopefully everyone can get what they need. You can get what you need. You can be a smooth operator in a hard place. Sometimes it's hard to be a smooth operator in. And by never losing your temper or never losing control, people look at you as a calm in the storm, and you attract people around you. Okay, and sometimes you may attract a person that you'd rather not be around you, but you attract people around you. Okay, which helps you combine your energy and their energy towards your common goal. Okay, so that's really what I want this show to be about. Yeah, we'll do story time sometimes, but I really want to try to put people onto the game and how to take their thinking, their evaluation skills, how to read people, how to read situations, just to make everyone's life a little bit more smoother, and put them a little bit more in control of their ultimate destination, okay, and their ultimate faith. So yeah, that's really what this channel is about, man. So if you haven't already, I really would appreciate it if you think about liking and subscribing. Give this episode a thumbs up. Let's try to get it in the algorithm, and I'm going to try to bring you some really deep diving, hard hitting info that you can apply in your everyday life. And it took me years to learn these skills, how to navigate situations, how to deal with people, and I'm going to pass them on to you for free, man. That's a pretty good deal, man. Hey, for the price of liking and subscribing. So look, I'm going to let you go. I ain't going to continue to talk your ear off, and I sure do appreciate you letting me come into your living room and kick it with you for a while. Stay up. Peace.